Dreykus is a tough motherfucker, dude. Look at this guy, man, you know? You want to talk about scared? Dreykus had a pretty easy fight with Whitaker, to his credit.
From surviving child abuse trauma and right-wing extremism to reaching the highest of highs in MMA with the odds heavily stacked against him, the noisy Sean Strickland has established himself as a force to be reckoned with, thanks to his knack for burying prospects and legends with his insane physical gifts. Strickland is a bullet that everyone wants to dodge, and that's because he is mentally very, very strong. Strickland is mentally tougher than your average Joe in MMA because he had to deal with an abusive father in his childhood.
Work harder! No food for you till you finish!
Oh no, it was like a lot of like psychological shit. Like my dad was like fucking like nuts.
The issue with physical abuse is that it stays with you forever. No matter if you're a normal person or a supernatural MMA fighter like Sean Strickland, who dealt with the inner demons for years because of his nightmarish experiences.
Like I was so angry. It's funny, I actually went through like this weird like neo-Nazi white supremacist phase when I was younger. I got kicked out of school for like hate crime, like all this crazy shit, but I was just like...
From joining a neo-Nazi group to having homicidal thoughts, Strickland was on a path of self-destruction, but the goodness and strength in him shined brighter. And at 15 years old, he ended up in an MMA gym where his life took a 180-degree turn.
The undefeated king of the cage, middleweight champion of the world, Sean Tarzan Strickland.
I remember like crying, like after I got done sparring, like I even know when I think about it, it makes my eyes water. Just like I don't think I ever really experienced happiness until that day.
The fact that he was able to let bygones be bygones and start a new life in MMA was a remarkable achievement in itself, but where he stands today is even more impressive.
You have judges that don't know about fighting.
If childhood experiences couldn't break Strickland, what makes anyone think a 15-odd minute fistfight would? Win or lose, Sean Strickland is unbreakable. He always moves forward, like a zombie gunning to unleash apocalyptic violence on his opponents. The middleweight champion of the world has cardio for years, and the only way to beat him is to shut his lights out, which obviously most can't. 33 fighters have tried to break Strickland down and only 5 have succeeded, with 2 of them former or current champions. So that already proves that he's way more skillful and dangerous than most people give him credit for.
Sean Strickland! Wow!
But more than anything else, it's his willingness to fight anyone, anywhere, and any time that sets him apart from the rest of his peers. And we don't have to go far back to prove it. Take his most recent fight against Israel Adesanya at UFC 293 for example. He accepted it on a few weeks' notice and he was expected to get bartered and blown away by Adesanya, who was on paper a far more technical striker.
You can't really bet against Izzy.
Money's on Izzy.
Izzy. But Izzy's the next level fighter. And
Strickland took the biggest fight of his career on short notice and then went on to batter the champion to win the title. To put things into perspective, even Dricus du Plessis didn't take the fight against Israel Adesanya even though he was offered more time to prepare. But even before Strickland became a champion, he was fighting anyone, anytime, and anywhere. Normally, not many top-grade contenders would take on an unranked promotional newcomer, but Strickland took on Abus Magomedova without hesitation and then melted him by putting the heat on him.
Do it!
45 seconds.
Oh man, what are we waiting for?
It's done. It's over.
Before that, he pummeled Nasruddin Imavov on short notice. Strickland started his MMA career in 2008, and in only 5 years, he was 13-0 as a professional when he joined the UFC welterweight Shark Tank.
Beautiful
Where he had a series of wins and losses before a motorcycle accident changed the course of his life.
I got an accident. It wasn't my fault.
In 2018, Strickland was on his way back home from his gym when he crashed into a van. The next thing he remembers is waking up in a hospital surrounded by medical staff and law enforcement personnel.
Every doctor I spoke to was telling me that, hey, you can fight for sure, but you probably shouldn't fight. So the hardest thing was just kind of telling these doctors to shut up.
For nearly 2 years, Strickland stayed on the sidelines, and at one point in time, he even thought about quitting. But he held through, and just look at him now. The fact that Strickland was able to bounce back from yet another traumatic life experience and beat Neberdine Taleb in his return to middleweight further proves why he is mentally one of the strongest fighters out there. He didn't die in the cage rather than sit on a couch and see others enjoy the thrill and agony of prize fighting. That's who Sean Strickland is, an absolute madman, and we mean it as a compliment. Strickland is a seriously gritty fighter who rose from the ashes like a phoenix and conquered guys like Brandon Allen, Uriah Hall, and Jackson Hermanson before facing a tiny setback in the form of Alex Pereira and Jared Conier. But for a man who has already endured so much in his life, a few losses mean nothing. And that is exactly why he bounced back into the win column to eventually win the title out of absolutely nowhere. Outside of the cage, he is a roller coaster of a person who speaks his heart out on the mic whether you like it or not.
Don't matter. I just want a big bank account. Oh man, I made the champion man with his fucking frosted tips and his gay little watch. Oh no!
At times, offensive, but he's honest, and his honesty rubs his opponents the wrong way. Whether Strickland trash talks on purpose or does it randomly to great effect, it works. It worked on Israel Adesanya at least, and that's truly remarkable considering that Izzy is a world-class showman himself. Strickland has a few screws loose, and the only way to beat him is to respond to him in his tone, and that's a double-edged sword.
If you keep not going down.
Most recently, Dricus du Plessis played a few dark mind games with Strickland, dragging his personal life, especially his sour relationship with his father during a pre-fight press conference.
Bro, why are you so angry? Bro, you think your dad beat the shit up you? Your dad doesn't have shit on me. I'm gonna show you what it's like to beat you. I mean, every childhood memory you have is gonna come back.
Du Plessis' remark hit home since here's how Strickland responded, and I quote, "I just want to say one thing that I feel needs to be said. There are a lot of kids out there who have been abused and molested, and it's a damn tragic thing that forever changes you. How you function, how you view the world, how you treat relationships, how you handle addiction, and for someone to put you down with that level of trauma on a world stage is an utter disgrace. I have a big following of people who suffered from trauma and molestation, and I will tell you that it's not funny to me." Dricus du Plessis is playing a seriously dangerous game against a very sinister dude who is often talked about how he fantasizes killing. Now, it could only mean two things. If du Plessis has truly hit home with his crude remarks, he might have the psychological edge come fight night. But if he has awakened the beast in Tarzan by trying to cut open past wounds, then nobody can save him from a vicious beating when the two lock horns in less than a fortnight. One must know who they're playing games with, and Sean Strickland isn't the kind of bear you'd want to poke. He's scarier than he looks, and he is more devastating than he pretends to be. He is a wolf in sheep's clothing, which is why he is turned down for a very long time by top contenders for allegedly not being good enough. Not anymore though. They can run, but they can't hide. Is Sean Strickland the scariest guy in the UFC middleweight division, and will he successfully defend his title against Dricus du Plessis? Let us know your comments down in the comment section below. To stay informed about the latest events in the MMA world, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell. Thanks for tuning in. We look forward to bringing you more content in our next video.
Sean Strickland.
Ah, man, how you doing?
Great, UFC World Champion.
Oh yeah, right? Still, well, it lasts.